Hey, it's a good thing we have good weather here in Jacksonville in November, because the football is terrible in November most every year, including on this Sunday. The Jaguars lose to the San Francisco 49ers, who now finally have won in Jacksonville. First time playing here at the bank since 2005. They lost that time. They get the win. This one hardly ever in doubt. Started with a 20-play drive that lasted 13 minutes. At one time, the Jaguars had run 4 plays. The San Francisco 49ers had run 33 plays. 170 yards to like 11 yards. Yeah, it was that kind of day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Never in it, and it was gross, disgusting, all those kind of things. We've used the words before. Well, they certainly helped describe this one. 30-10 was the final. I just tweeted out 30-10 the final, and I hardly even noticed that the other quarterback played. He didn't have to do anything. Jimmy Garoppolo rendered pretty useless. He actually could have thrown a couple more touchdowns if he had thrown it on target. But it didn't matter, because they ran the football, they played defense. The Jaguars could not convert third downs early. They could not stop third downs. They played undisciplined football. At one time, 4 penalties for first downs by the Jaguars defense. Jaguars looked like they were off the field early. Rayshawn Jenkins on a sack play got called for holding. A little bit later on, Rayshawn Jenkins ejected from the game for throwing a punch after the Jags had gotten off the field and looked like they forced a field goal. Rayshawn Jenkins, $35 million free agent signing. Called for taunting earlier this year as well. Rayshawn Jenkins had some communication issues in the back end of the secondary for the Jags. Rayshawn Jenkins is not helping the Jaguars, and he was a big free agent acquisition. How about Trevor Lawrence today? We can't even tell, because Trevor Lawrence was never in the football game. The offense was never in the football game. I mean, it was over. It was 17-0, and they couldn't function as an offense. A few drops, less drops than last week. Got that going for us. A little garbage time touchdown for Trevor Lawrence. But third down conversions continue to be a problem at 30% for the year. Not even worth looking at the numbers, what they were today, but they weren't good. And the Jaguars cannot scheme things open enough, convert, make plays offensively, and they sure as heck couldn't overcome a 17-0 deficit. Jaguars also play poorly again on special teams with a turnover, Tavon Austin. And maybe the biggest story, the injuries. I think Olivia has the injuries listed, and if we have that, we'll show you. For the first time, really, the Jaguars had numerous injuries in a game. And look at the secondary. Tyson Campbell lands on his shoulder. Shaquille Griffin out with a concussion. Andre Cisco goes in the game finally, and then injures his groin. Jamal Agnew, it's called a hip. It looked really nasty, by the way, and so we'll see on that, but it was an awkward landing when he got tackled. Cam Robinson, a knee. Walker Little ended up going in for him. So the Jaguars Performance Center, Urban Meyer's Performance Center, not having a good day with all those injuries. It's football, it's violent, but the Jaguars now beat up on that defensive side of the football, and they lose it 30-10. So that's the story here. Did I just sum up? Is the postgame show over, or do we have to hang on and wait for everybody to talk about it? Can't wait to hear what Urban Meyer is going to say about this one. Trevor Lawrence, I am not a believer that the Jags will ruin Trevor Lawrence. But maybe I should be, because that's the negative kind of talk on social media ever since he got drafted by the Jags. And are they really putting him in a position to be successful? The answer to that is no right now. I mean, he must feel like the world is collapsing around him every time he gets out there. Not to say he's playing brilliant football, but I'm not sure what he's supposed to do in a game like this. And so maybe the Jags will ruin Trevor Lawrence if they don't figure this out. You know, once in a while you have a stinker in the NFL. The Jags now have had 3 of them. The Houston Texans, the Seattle Seahawks, now the San Francisco 49ers. Like, it's the second half of the year. They're supposed to show signs of growth. And what they've done on offense especially has been brutal. 4 bad performances on offense in a row. Like, it's not getting any better. James Robinson really rendered useless in this game once again. After the slow start, I thought the offense actually played better in the first 5 weeks than they have in the last 5 weeks. And the Jags actually won a couple of games in the last 5 weeks. Thank goodness for the bye. So now you look at what's ahead, and the Jags are 2-8. Easily could be 0-10. You got a Falcons team that's terrible. You're going to get hammered by the Rams. the Titans are weird, losing to the Texans right now. I would think the Texans is like a good automatic win, but we saw what happened in week 1, and it looks like they're beating the Titans this afternoon on the road. And the way I've seen the Jags play this couple of times in the last month, I'm not sure they'll beat the Texans. Then the Jets, who look very more competitive today against Miami than the Jags look today against San Francisco. The Patriots, not a chance, unless they're not playing for anything, and still probably not a chance. And then Indianapolis, who knows, because for some reason the Jags beat Indianapolis even when they stink. And Indianapolis coming off a huge win today over the Buffalo Bills. So, I mean, 3 times out of 10 games this year, the Jags have really not been in it, have looked awful, have been blown out, have been embarrassed. That's a 30% embarrassing rate. That's not supposed to happen. This is a game that's supposed to come down to 3 plays in the NFL. It's supposed to come down to the last 2 or 3 minutes across the league, week to week, every week, no matter who you are. And the Jaguars were out of this thing by the end of the first quarter. That's really the story. Do we have a look at playmakers? I like how we labeled this one weapons on the stat sheet. Yeah, let's take a look at it. Weapons, maybe for San Francisco. I'm not sure weapons for the Jags fits. 12 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown for James. I mean, what was he supposed to do? He's already hurt. They hardly ran 12 plays. They couldn't even get him the ball. Laviska Shenault, 5 for 50. He fumbled. So Laviska, that is like his best game over the last month, and he still cost them 7 points with a fumble. Deebo Samuel's pretty good. 79 yards on 8 carries. He's a receiver. And Brandon Ayuk comes alive. 7 receptions, 85 yards for the San Francisco 49ers. I think the 49ers actually have a pretty good team. They got off to a bad start this year, and now they're back to it and maybe playing good football after that win over the Rams. Garoppolo and Shanahan seem to be clicking right now. So Jags got them at a bad time, and Jags aren't good enough to beat San Francisco probably most any week, but especially right now they feel pretty good about themselves. And the Jags, that's the problem with it. I'm not sure many people thought the Jags would beat the 49ers, but now they feel awful about themselves again. And like, what are you building toward here? Like, what are you building toward? You're getting out-coached, you're getting out-schemed, you're getting outplayed. And when you lose by this kind of margin 3 times in 10 weeks in the NFL, and actually the margin's been bad against the Broncos and others, well, you got to worry about the personnel part of it. Are you that deficient in the personnel department? Maybe the case. But then you got to make up for it on the coaching and the culture. And right now it's a hit to the culture today and really the last couple of weeks, although the Jags tried to come back last week, and that would have been a heck of a steal win. So why are the Jaguars looking pretty good, then boom, diving back down in a valley? Then they look pretty good and bounce back against Buffalo. They look bad early on against Indy. They come back in that game, have a chance, and now boom, hit another valley here against San Francisco. I mean, maybe the trend is they'll bounce back next week against Atlanta, but the inconsistent football is bad right now for the Jags. And really, the narrative that we should start playing along with is, what are they doing all week to get ready for a game, and why can't they start quicker than they are? Because they give the ball, they win the toss, 20-play drive, 13 minutes, penalties, even when they did make stops, 3rd down conversions, 3rd and 12 for Jimmy Garoppolo. They drove 90 yards essentially and actually settled for a field goal. I don't know why they did. They could have easily got the 1st down, I think, on a 4th and short. They chose not to. If you go back to the Miami game, even the game in London where the Jags won, it was a bad start. And then they had a really bad start against Seattle. And then they had a really bad start last week, 17-0 hole. And now today a 17-0 hole against San Francisco. And you can't do that week in, week out and win in the NFL. You just can't. And if I give you those 4 examples, they won one of those games against the Miami Dolphins. They actually almost came back and had a chance against Indy, amazingly. But you can't do that. So that's not the way it's built, especially against pretty good football teams, and you're not a good football team. So the Jaguars, they got to figure this stuff out. And I would say now the mantra and narrative of starting fast will be a thing around Jacksonville this Thanksgiving week, because there's a lot of evidence of, okay, what are you doing? Where's your script? Why isn't your script working? Why can't you stop stop their script? How quick can you make adjustments? It's an adjustment game, and the Jaguars certainly not able to do that the last couple of weeks. But I think there's even more evidence if you go over the last month, and that even comes in a win over Miami. They, remember, got behind big time in that football game. So Jacksonville Jaguars lose 30-10. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons, and you got 7 games to go. Jags have to figure it out somehow, some way. They've got to get going. Darrell Bevel in this offense, not good, and the Urban Meyer has to coach him up a little bit better right now. Olivia, say that again if you can. All right, AFC South standings, throw them up there. I'm tired of looking at myself here on TV, so you guys throw whatever you got up there, and I'll take you there while we wait on Urban Meyer. But there you go, as the Jags. And so the Texans did win that game, and they are now 2-8. What a win for the Colts. Well, if there's still game is going on, then they haven't won yet, then they're not 2-8 yet. But I guess we've already put it in the win column. 6-5, I think the Colts have beaten the Bills. And that's a huge win for the Indianapolis Colts, and would be a big loss for the Titans now, because now the Titans have brought the Colts back into it. And the Colts now are a team that could start taking off. That is an impressive win at Buffalo. And now Buffalo, you start to wonder a little bit about. Guess who's in first place in the AFC East? The New England Patriots. So the NFL is weird and wacky. This we know. The Texans, even though they won and somehow won over the Titans, they stink. The Jags are 2-8, going nowhere. They stink. The Detroit Lions stink. Like, we know there are some bad teams. There's a lot of mediocre teams that still can take off. But the Jaguars are 2-8. And they'll welcome the Atlanta Falcons to town next week. Wow, is Urban Meyer going to talk today, or is he having a long talk in the locker room with his football team? Hey, while we talk about the Jags and wait for Urban Meyer, I can tell you this. If you didn't know the big news, it's a Jaguars postgame show. Maybe Dan Mullen will be the offensive coordinator or QB coach or play caller, because I'm sure some people would sign up for that right now. Dan Mullen fired by the Florida Gators this afternoon. That's the big story out of Gainesville, and the Gators are looking for a new coach. And stranger things have happened. I wouldn't anticipate Dan Mullen coming to join Urban Meyer's staff, but it would be pretty wild. And some people will probably speculate, hey, why not? Could that happen? And the play caller might be an issue right here in Jacksonville. Although I will say this, for the Jags offense and for, Bevel, the offense coordinator, I mean, what was he supposed to do today? 20-play drive. Okay, they go 3 and out. And then on the next play, they have a good play, and Laviska Shenault fumbles it. I mean, before you know it, you're down big in a hole, and now you've got to change your whole game plan. I mean, you don't have to, but most people do. And now you're pressing, and now you need to make something happen. So just another week of not getting this offense in rhythm and sync, and really they had no chance to do that today. By the time they did it, we can't even put anything to it because it was garbage time. So you don't want to give it too much credit, and really there wasn't a lot of credit to go around anyway. It took until a few minutes left in the third quarter for the Jaguars to even get 100 yards. It took until 6.5 minutes left in the third quarter for the Jaguars to run their 20th play in the football game. San Francisco ran 20 plays on the first drive. So that's how lopsided this game was, and how hard it is to really take a lot away from the offensive side of the football, even though it wasn't great again. And more so turnovers and the defense that was undisciplined in key moments and couldn't get off the field in key moments. So definitely a step back for the defense after 2 pretty nice performances. Now we have no idea what to rely on once again in Jacksonville. I thought we were coming around on that defense, but that's not the case. Trevor Lawrence is on the way to the podium. I usually feel better after Trevor takes the podium. I'm not sure what he could say here on a Sunday when you just got whooped 30-10 before Thanksgiving that Trevor could say to make me feel better or you feel better, but hopefully that will be the case. Trevor Lawrence on his way to the podium, as you can see. Just kind of a lost day in game for the offense. Really not much going on. Here's Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor, could you just talk about where you guys go from this point forward? You've always maintained a very optimistic attitude. Tough day today, and it's just it just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of positivity that came out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much left to say. You know, like you said, it's just gotta keep going. Season's not going to get canceled. We got 8 more games. Was it 7 or 8? 7 more games left. We got a lot of ball left. Just get better every week. And but yeah, I'm not going to sit up here and say all the positive things that came out of it. There's not much out today. Got our butt kicked. Didn't look good all the way around. So where you go from here is just keep going to work. Everybody stay together. Keep fighting. I know I will. I'm never going to quit. I know we got enough guys to turn this thing around, and it's up to us. We got to make that decision. So just got to keep working.
Trevor, you've not dealt with anything like this before in your career, high school, college, obviously. How tough is this for you to go through, and who are you relying on to kind of help you get through this mentally?
Just everybody, the whole team. We got a lot of guys that, especially in the quarterback room, a lot of the coaching staff as well, but the team's done a great job of sticking together just throughout all the good and bad that's happened. And obviously that's going to be, like I said, that's the main thing right now is just to continue to do that. You know, we have 7 games left. We got to just stick together, keep fighting, and go play our best ball moving forward. You kind of see in years past other teams, maybe even here, wherever, where the end of the season just keeps going downhill. We're not going to do that. So just to keep fighting, and we got to put better stuff out there on the field. I mean, that was bad today. So yeah, we'll have to watch the tape. You know, I can't give you guys too many answers right now. I got to go watch it. We just got to be better.
Trevor, right here. I'm sure there are some frustrations with how the offense looked on the field today. What were those discussions with your receivers on the sideline like during the game today?
Yeah, just trying to get on the same page. You know, San Francisco did a nice job. They didn't do anything too complicated, but you know, they played a lot of man coverage, and it's not something they've done a lot of in the past. They're a big zone team, besides on third down. And they came out and challenged us and played a lot of man. So we had some good adjustments. You know, we got to some things. Made a few plays early on after the first 2 drives, you know, kind of settled in on that long drive. But we got to communicate better. We got to put each other in better situations, and that was just kind of us, you know, trying to figure out what we wanted to do and make sure we're on the same page. And if I wanted to go to a certain, you know, change to a certain look or whatever it was, just make sure we're all good. And I thought at the end we put together a nice drive. So that was good at least.
Trevor, in the past, when you've had a slump as an offense at whatever level, what gets you out of it? I know it hasn't been something that's been this long, this extended in your past, but what is it that has gotten you out of being in a slump previously?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's one answer to that. Something definitely that's helped in the past is you just need a spark. You need guys to make plays, and it's all of us. It's me, it's receivers, running backs, wideouts. Like, it's just everybody. Someone make a play, get some momentum, and we didn't make any big plays today. So we got to be better, and we could have used a few sparks. You saw we were starting to do that as the year went on, and in the past few games offensively haven't been great. So we got to find that again. But like I said, we still need to. I don't want to say too much until I watch the tape and see for sure.
Over here, Trevor. What were your conversations with, I know obviously you talked primarily to Schottenheimer during the game, but what were your conversations with Bevel following the game, during the game, as far as the play calling went?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar, like offense coordinator and quarterback. You're going to catch all the good things when you're playing well and catch all the bad when things aren't going well in offense. So we just all gotta help each other out. We gotta help Bev out. I mean, there's only so much he can do. You know, he's the one calling the plays. We're the ones out there on the field, and we got to make plays, and we have to be better. So we haven't had any detailed conversation yet. I talked to him right after, and I got his back. You know, we're in it together. I know he's the same way with me, so I'm not concerned about that. But like I said, I just need to watch it, and we need to get together and talk about some things and see. But you know, I thought that we had a good game plan. I thought we had answers, and for whatever reason, first drive 3 and out, missed a throw there. And the next drive, turned it over, and then San Francisco, I mean, they held the ball for forever. They had a great game plan, used the clock, time of possession. They did a good job. And then we had that long drive at the end of the first half, had a little bit of momentum, and then coming out of halftime, stalled out again. So just consistently playing better, putting drives together. Like our defense holds them on that first drive. That was like 10 or 11 minutes, or shoot, it might have been 12 minutes long. 13 minutes long, but we held them to 3 points. After all that, they only got 3 points out of it. You can't go 3 and out right there. You're on the field we were on the field for probably like 40 seconds. So you can't do that. We got to help them, and that's all of us playing better, being in the right situation, and yeah, that's just one example of didn't play complimentary at all. So, and we were -2 in the margin, so that went into it too.
There's a level of expectation for captains. Did Rayshon Jenkins say anything in the locker room afterwards? Was he even there in terms of what he did and what he did in the first quarter there?
I didn't really even see what happened, honestly. Yeah, he was in there though, and he was in there at halftime, talking to everybody and just encouraging everybody. He was in his spirits were all right. I don't even really know what happened, so but we got his back. Nothing's going to change.
Trevor, it looked like in the third quarter, on the second 3 and out, you were looking at the sideline and you took your palms out like open up the playbook. Can you elaborate on that and what you actually meant with that?
Yeah, that's not what I meant. It's that's part of our offense, so I can't elaborate too much on that. But that's not what I meant. No, that's funny you say that though. No, that was just one of our signals. So trying to get that communicated to all the guys, change the look.
I know you and Urban arms around each other, or he had his arm on your shoulder, whatever, at the end of the game there. Was that a moment where you guys are trying to just get through it or just figure out what's going on, or is it one of those conversations of, hang in there, better things are ahead type of thing?
A little bit of all. I mean, just him encouraging me, just talking for a quick second. Obviously, that's tough. You go out there and you prepare and you work hard, and to put that on the field, it's like, gosh, it sucks. It's a bad feeling. So I just told him I'm going to keep fighting. Like, it doesn't matter the situation. I'm always going to be me. Don't have to worry about me. So I'm going to keep being the same guy, coming back every day, grinding. And we got a lot of guys like that, and there's not a magic pill. Like, this is what we need to do to fix it. We all just have to take ownership and be better. And until we do that, it's going to be the same thing. So we gotta keep going back to work, and it'll come. But this is definitely disappointing. Yep. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Trevor.
AFC West. All right, that is Trevor Lawrence, and again, the kid says it how it is. They stunk. They got their butt kicked. It was bad. He said they got to put better things out on the field than that. And I think he protected his offensive coordinator a little bit, saying, hey, if we don't make some of these plays, what are we supposed to do? What's he supposed to do? We don't get first downs. It's interesting that 3 and out is a big. Everybody knows it in football. If your defense is on the field for 20 plays and 13 minutes to start the game, I know the game just kind of started, but still, your defense gets tired. And they went 3 and out. They held the ball for a minute 35, and bam, defense right back out on the field. So you knew you were in trouble right then. But the 3rd and 5 play, and we have no idea if this what was called. Did Trevor check to it? He threw it out of bounds essentially on a go route to John Brown, who just is playing his first 3 snaps with the Jags. It's just not a high percentage play when you need to keep the ball to protect your defense. Like, you've got to be able to scheme something, script something there, and call a play that is more high percentage than that. Now, if the guy drops it because it's a high percentage play and he had the first down, well, so be it. That's what happened and has happened. But that play had no chance on 3rd and 5. I don't get that play at all. Heck, they would have been better off running the football to chew up more clock and give their defense a rest. Here's Urban Meyer going to the podium. I can't imagine Urban Meyer's going to be too happy, especially the way his offense looks.
Urban, after a performance like today, what do you tell the team afterwards? And does this in any way diminish the optimism you have for the remainder of the season?
No. I know it's, for those who know me or maybe who don't know me, that I love our quarterback. I love our owner. I love the fact that we have a good core group of players. I was extremely disappointed with everything about today. But you keep going, you keep working, and there's times we played excellent football. Today wasn't one of those days. So we got another chance to prove to our home crowd that we love them, care about them. We're going to play hard next week against the Falcons. So that's the way I look at it.
Coach, there's one thing to not play your best or play excellent football, a whole other thing to play what you guys put out there in the field today, 10 games in. Do you have any idea where it went wrong and how it unraveled like to that point?
Yeah, defensively, third downs, we couldn't get off the field in their first drive. They took about, basically the whole first quarter. That's a very good football team, too, by the way. I think they're kind of hitting their stride. Very good players, good scheme. We just had, you saw what I saw. About 4 times they had a chance to get off the field. We didn't do it. And then offensively, my God, I think we had 3 and out and then a turnover. We had 4 plays in the first quarter, I think. And then Trevor, I thought, and the group took him right down the field, kicked the field goal, and that was the first half. But to answer your question, yeah, I'm not going to panic. That was a very poor display of football in so many areas. But go back to work and try to go beat the Falcons next week.
Real quick, could you address Fernando Lobo leaving, going back to Texas? Yeah.
Yeah, he came to me last week, and he wants to be an athletic director, and they've offered him a really good job. And I knew that. Fernando's like a son to me, so all positive.
When you and Trevor...
Nothing behind door number 2 with that one.
Okay. When you and Trevor were talking at the end of the game, what was that conversation with him like? Was it trying to just keep his spirits up because he's never been through this?
Yeah, I just love that guy, man. I mean, how do you not? The guy is, it's all good. It's all work. It's all positive. It's all, my gosh, you saw him what I saw, and he took the field, tempo, moving the ball. And I love Cam Robinson. He kept going and going and going even after he got dinged. There's so many great things. That's why you get your ass kicked, and there's going to be a day we don't get our ass kicked here. That's coming. And I know that guy's going to be a part of it, that 6 foot, whatever he is, quarterback. And care deeply for that guy.
Hey, Coach, you guys are already kind of thin at the wide receiver position. What could that injury to Jamal Agnew mean for the roster?
Devastating. Yeah, he's our, we all know what kind of person he is, and talented guy, fast guy. So we'll know more tomorrow, but that's a hit square in the jaw if that's a problem.
Urban, in terms of the play calling, what were your conversations both in game and then, I know obviously clearly you haven't had time to watch the tape back, but looking at last week, looking at this week, what have your conversations been with Darrell Bevell?
A lot of respect for Bev. I think it's I'm never, it's a little bit like the quarterback. I'm very transparent with our staff. If I think it's a really bad play call or lack of execution, we address it. We've tried to adapt a little bit. I was really disappointed today because we had some things that I thought were things that Trevor was really good at, and we just never got to it because it just didn't play well. So, yeah, I mean, Bev's an excellent football coach, and so is Shadi, and those guys work together, and obviously the product's got to improve here quickly. But I have confidence they'll do it. We'll do it.
7 games left, and you hate to start asking about staff changes. With 7 games left, but there was a report today that you've been really harsh on the running backs coach and the receivers coach, and they've been taking the brunt of maybe your criticisms behind the scenes. Is there any truth to that?
There's a report, you said?
There was a report today.
No, the only report that, in all due respect, is the report from me, and very disappointed on offense right now. Special teams, there's times at defense, so no, I mean, it's once again, there will be nothing behind door number 2. We're a very transparent staff, and I am very transparent that I've always been. So we have high expectations, and when someone's not performing well, then, yeah, we have hard conversations, but that's the game of football, and so that report is incorrect. I mean, I don't know about the word hard. Do I have high expectations for position groups? Absolutely. Very high expectations, and if it's not fulfilled, we have to have a conversation about it. I can assure you it's not, I can't remember what you said, receivers and what?
Running back.
Yeah, it's not, there's not focus on that. We can spread it around a little bit.
The third down penalties on defense, there were a few times, sorry, few times in the first half where you guys got a stop, but a penalty, gave San Francisco a first down.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So how can you move past that and just kind of get it through to the defense that those are mistakes you can't
Well,
make?
where there was a holding and it was, we had a sack, right?
Personal foul.
Personal
Check. And a hold. Both on a cap.
Was it Rayshawn on the,
Both of them.
yeah.
Defensive holding on a third down and the ejection for punching, throwing a punch.
Yeah, it's not like him. I know he had a taunting one earlier in the year or something, but I'll chat with him tomorrow. And once again, there's the holding. I didn't see it. The fight, I saw something going on off to the side. It looked like two guys going after each other. But so yeah, what can you do? I'm gonna go address it. He is a captain. He's very well respected by me. That we got to get that fixed.
Yeah, Urban, that's where I was going to ask you as well. Do you feel like you're in a position where you can be hard on a veteran like that when they make a mistake and they get ejected?
No.
What's the balance?
The days of being hard, in my opinion, I think it's the days of being honest. 15 years ago was a whole different animal. I mean, that's at all levels. So being hard, especially a grown man, Rayshawn Jenkins, great. What the heck? What the heck's going on, man? Let's get that corrected. He'd be the first one to have that look in his face, like, why did the heck? There's no defiance. If there'd be defiance, that'd be a problem. So we just got to have a grown man conversation, and you can't do that, especially in your position, any position.
Hey, Coach, you've talked a lot right here. You've talked a lot about building the confidence of this young team over the course of the year and how you need that confidence to play with it. What does a game like today do to the confidence?
It hurts it. I think we won 2 out of 3 at one point, and so you started feeling good. You had victory meals. People started to pep their step around here a little bit. Defense was one of the top defenses in the last 4 games. You kind of feel a little juice going, and then you play like that. So we got to get them back. That's my job. That's our staff's job and our leader's job. So that was a sting to it, but we'll be back.
You mentioned one time overconfidence is just as bad as not being confident. Do you think some of the players started to get a little overconfident?
No, I would be. You'd have to ask them. I would be shocked. I think defensively they're feeling pretty good about themselves because they were playing very good. And today we didn't play very good.
Last one for Mark.
Dan Mullen was fired for the first time in his life today.
She just told me that.
Yeah. What was your reaction to Dan?
He's one of my close friends. He's a guy that was with me for 15+ years. I didn't see that one coming. I know the expectations of Florida. I lived it, and it is a premier place. But Dan and Megan are dear friends, and I'm sure Shelley talked to Megan. So I'll call him tonight, and I just feel it's a tough profession.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that is Urban Meyer even touching on the firing of Dan Mullen. Tough day for former Gator coaches as Urban Meyer really gets hammered here at home against the San Francisco 49ers. And you got to give credit to Urban. I mean, he's very transparent. Whether it's Rayshawn Jenkins, whether it's, hey, we got our butt whooped. Hey, this is a stain on walking around the building with a little more swagger and that winning culture that we're trying to get to. All of that took a hit today. And the Jaguars lose big time 30-10 to the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they have shown an ability to bounce back several times. We've seen this too many times during the course of the year. Will they be able to do it against Atlanta next week and put a better game plan together, execute a game plan, be more disciplined, make plays on offense, and make more plays and winning plays in general? I mean, even right down here on that first drive, they had the chance to get off the field multiple times, but they also had a chance to pick up a fumble. They'd actually forced a fumble, which we have not seen very much, and they didn't pick it up. So you got to make some of those plays. It changes the whole tone of the game, and maybe the mentality of the game, and maybe the outcome of the game if you do some of those things. We're going to talk all about it coming up tonight, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. It's Action Sports Jax prime time. The entire staff, we're here. We also have a lot to break down on the Dan Mullen front. Florida State in action in the Jacksonville Classic this afternoon at 5:30. By the way, you can listen to that game on ESPN 690 or watch it at UNF Arena. They're in town for a Jacksonville Classic holiday tournament, and FSU's the headliner. So we'll talk a little basketball as well, plus the rest of the day in the NFL. That will do it from TIAA Bank Field. Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving, and we will be back here next Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. We'll see you later on tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Have a good rest of your Sunday, everybody.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. Thanks for watching the Action Sports Jax Postgame Show, sponsored by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.